Famous person to be Florence Nightingale, as she was a large influence on the nursing practices we use today. As I am a nursing major, she played a large part in the career I have chosen. Let me tell you a little bit about Florence Nightingale. During the time that Florence Nightingale chose to be a nurse, it was considered a rebellion. At the time, nurses were only religious, monastic women, and untrained helpers of low repute. The wealthy woman's role was to marry and have children, not to work. She believed God was calling her into the nursing profession. She entered training and was trained in Egypt, Germany, and France. She then went to work at a home that served gentlewomen in London. Little did she know she would end up becoming widely known for the influence in building hygiene, holistic nursing, and natural healing. She would also make great strides in her role and future roles of statistician. She was a well-known author as she wrote several different books, a lot of which pertain to nursing and practices in nursing. While she was working at the Women's Home in London, the Crimean War started. She soon began to hear of the conditions of the wounded soldiers and decided to help. She volunteered with 38 other nurses to go and tend to the wounded. When she arrived, she immediately set to cleaning up the hospital area of the soldiers and to clean the soldiers themselves. However, the death rate continued to climb, and most deaths were not related to the wounds, but to such things as typhoid fever. She would make rounds at night using a lamp to check on the soldiers, and thus earning her the nickname, the Lady with the Lamp. Due to the high death counts, the Sanitary Commission came and flushed the sewers and improved the ventilation, after which the death rate drastically declined. It was here that Nightingale linked sanitary conditions with health, which began her fight to advocate for hygiene reform and better treatment of patients. During this fight, she invented a diagram she called the coxcomb or polar area chart, which is equivalent to the modern circular histogram or rose diagram. She used this to illustrate the seasonal sources of patient mortality in the military field hospital she managed. Due to her role in the Crimean War, it led to the establishment of the Nightingale Fund for the training of nurses. She also wrote of spas in Turkey, detailing the health conditions and drawing people to the spas for health, pioneering the medical tourism. At the end of the war, she fell ill with an unknown illness to which there is much speculation. She stayed confined to her room. Despite her confinement, she played a role in the establishment of the Royal Commission on the Health of the Army. She played important roles in many organizations that women were not allowed in. If she was not officially a member, she was an honorary member. And this went a long way into establishing the English movement, the English women's movement. She also mentored America's first trained nurse and enabled her to return to the USA with adequate training and knowledge to establish nursing schools. Using her Nightingale Fund, she started the Nightingale Training School, in which nurses were trained according to Nightingale standards. Nightingale's work inspired nurses in the Civil War. The Union government asked her for advice. Although her ideas met resistance, they inspired the body of the U.S. Sanitary Commission. She received many awards, all of which were considered an achievement for women in that time. Royal Red Cross, first woman to receive Order of Merit, Honorary Freedom of the City of London, first female member of Royal Statistical Society, honorary member of the American Statistical Association. She was also a noted author. Many of her works brought about practices that we still use today. For nurses today and all future nurses, Nightingale is responsible for the nurse's oath that we say today. Many of the words in her oath tell us something about the kind of woman and leader she was. I solemnly pledge myself before God and in the presence of this assembly to pass my life in purity and to practice my profession faithfully. I will abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous, and will not take or knowingly administer any harmful drug. I will do all in my power to maintain and elevate the standard of my profession, and will hold in confidence all personal matters committed to my keeping and all family affairs coming to my knowledge. In the practice of my calling, with loyalty will I endeavor to aid the physician in his work and devote myself to the welfare of those committed to my care.